Alright, very quick update today. It's Tears Day. The Sky Father, which is partially about getting a higher vantage point, but especially about ancestors, about those who've come before, tapping into their wisdom. And it's not an uncomplicated situation. It's also about sorting, right? Choosing. It's a kind of a Seven of Swords situation in the tarot. Which ideas, which knowledges, which perspectives are we going to take, and which ones are we going to leave behind because they just don't serve anymore? Maybe they never served. So, that's coming out a lot. And another thing is just a very kind of intense energy today. And in my lunar update yesterday, I mentioned this coming, and I'm sensing that it does have to do with the full moon here. The full moon can be a time that feels very kind of glaring, it can be a bit much. And, plenty of practitioners in astrology especially will really advise not to work with the full moon energy. I work with the full moon energy to pay attention to the sign that it's in, and if it's changing signs. The full moon technically is starting in Scorpio, and it's, it gets talked about as full moon in Sagittarius, but there's movement here, and the Scorpio energy is about unearthing, rebirthing, also letting go, putting the stinger in things that are done, right? Like, I'm done with that. Sting, it's gone. So it can be kind of drastic in that way. We're coming to the end of that energy as we move into the Sagittarian energy, which is an energy of fire, of direction, of having plans, of seeing something out in the distance, of knowing what direction we're going in and going there, of, having carefully aimed a shot and loosing that shot. The Sagittarian energy can also be an energy of stuckness, of taking too long to aim, of trying to get all the information possible, of testing the wind and testing the wind again and testing the wind again. And of course the wind just keeps changing. It's going to be different every time. So there's that too. And this full moon energy is glaring on that space, that junction between the Scorpio energy moving into that Sagittarian energy. It could be that, I think it's very possible that we're turning the page on some scorpionic activity in our lives, right? Where we have been measuring, we have been gauging, we have been testing the waters and even measuring the air and seeing what belongs and what doesn't belong, and so this seems to be marking a space of, okay, now it's time to go, now it's time to loose the arrow, now it's time to take flight. So this is all coming out right now, and along with that, just an overall intensity. And I'm picking up on this from a lot of different perspectives, and one perspective is that to really question if that energy is fully yours. Maybe it's not yours at all. It could be a very heavy, dense energy, almost an energy of sadness, an energy of anxiety, an energy of it could be the type of anxiety of, like, I'm about to do this thing, right? Also, it may not be. It may be your own anxiety, and if it is probably because you're sensing you're about to do something. You're about to change something. You're about to go through a doorway. You're about to cross a threshold. You're about to start a project or finish a project. And you don't know what's on the other side of that door, right? So the encouragement coming through is to really sense where that energy is in your body. Think about where it's coming from. Again, if it's yours, is it being projected onto you by someone else, by an old relationship, by an old way of being, what have you? And to just really be honest about that. And again, while we're still in this early part and not quite at the full moon, but we're getting close in a few hours here, to really be thinking about, okay, what needs to go there, what needs to be let loose and not carried forward, as then I march into this Sagittarian energy, where again, the light's out. So if your eye's on a target, loose the arrow, shoot at the target, right? Again, I wouldn't say to not work with the full moon energy. I think work with the full moon energy with care. The full moon energy does not mean, oh, it's obviously going to work out because the full moon is lucky. It doesn't mean, oh, it's a full moon, that's bad luck. That's not how these things work. They're energies. And it's really more important to think about what sign is the moon in. That's going to give you a lot more of a clue to the type of energy that you're dealing with, and then relate that to your own life. So the last thing coming through in here, as you know, coming from the sky ancestors, is then have your eyes to the sky. The moon causes us to look skyward. There are other things up in the sky. There are planets. There are stars. There's so much emphasis on your sun sign, right? As if that's the only thing you are. I'm a Scorpio. I'm a Sagittarius. I'm a this. I'm a that. That's so simplistic that it's worthless. Okay? It's so simplistic that it's worthless. And it can be even worse than worthless. It can be misleading. Okay? There's way more to you than that. So know not just your sun sign. If you're going to work with these energies, know your moon sign. Know your rising sign. These are very important. If you're going to work with lunar energy, know any placements you have in Cancer. Cancer is ruled by the moon. Anything going on with the moon, in my experience, is generally tinged a bit by how you deal with the moon energy. And if you have Cancer placements, that can be altered. That can be different. Okay? So for me particularly, I get a lot of energy through the lunar energy because I have Mars and Jupiter in Cancer, which means that's a lot of fuel. It's a lot of fuel. It's a lot of fire in that lunar energy. And it comes through that portal for me. So know these things about yourself and work with the totality of that, not just one little aspect of it that's gonna be misleading if you only look at one aspect. And don't be worried about it or fearful about it. There's also an element of stair steps, of taking little baby steps, if you will, like in the knowledge of these things. But as you start to fill in more and more of the picture and you work with these energies, you can get a lot out of it. It can really fuel you. It can reveal to you deeper psychological things that you're dealing with, and kind of give you almost a pattern that you're working through, so that you know, like, okay, I'm going to be working on this soon. I'm going to be working on that soon, probably. And then also, you know when it stops, right? The moon's leaving Scorpio, going to Sagittarius. It goes that quick. Just a couple of days, 2.5 or so days in each sign, and then it moves on. And that's a good thing. That's a refreshing thing. Every month we can go through the whole zodiac and partake of all the energies of the zodiac, and that can work on us in a lot of different ways. And you are not just one sign in the zodiac. That is not the sum total of anyone's identity. All right, so that's pretty much it for now. Sending a lot of love and peace, all the light you can stand from the hot and sunny north.